Hello, this is Diana Jarvis from the Young Reporter Scheme, and today I'm interviewing Liberty Martin, who did the scheme with me in 2014. Welcome to the podcast, Liberty. It's really lovely of you to join us today from New York, and thank you for giving up your time.
Thank you for having me.
You did the scheme in 2014, and at the time you won the extra mile category, and you went on to win Young Reporter, the top reporter, which has never happened in the history of the scheme prior to that or since then. But it must have been a huge achievement to actually have had that award given to you.
Yes, it was extremely validating because I think it's the first time I ever did journalism. So I think because I'm competitive, I did want to win, but I didn't know if I didn't really know if my work was good or not because I hadn't done anything previous to compare it to.
Yeah.
So because I wanted to be a journalist, it was very, very validating and I knew that I was on like the right path.
So you saw the scheme advertised at your school. I mean, what inspired you to decide to do it?
Well, because I wanted to be a journalist and I didn't have any other opportunities to do any journalism because I guess I was just very young at the time. I remember seeing it, in fact, the year before I even applied. So I saw it and I was like, okay, that's what I want to do when I'm old enough. We don't have like school newspapers like they do in the US at secondary school.
Yeah.
Yes, so I wanted to try out journalism. So that's the reason I applied.
So how did you find the scheme?
It really stretched me because at the time I'm an introvert, so I didn't like going up to people to talk to them. But when I realized, because I wanted to win and I wanted to do well in the scheme, when I realized I had to do it for interviews, I basically had to like push myself, and it really built my confidence. It also helped me to get very organized because I had to like plan ahead of time for stories. I had to make sure I did the picture. I had to have my tech working in terms of recording interviews, making sure I had enough time to write and then submit it. A teacher used to help me, so I would write and then give it to her. She'd be like an editor and give me points for improvement and stuff, which is how it actually works in the real world because I've done an internship since then.
Yeah, you said at the time it did wonders for your confidence and also it gave you a new love for interviewing.
Yeah, and since I've really enjoyed interviewing, I've been commissioned to do it at uni. There's a festival called World Black Booth for Barnard, and they want to do interviews with student artists.
All right.
And so I did all of those interviews, and I really enjoyed it. And I do think there's like an art to interviewing now, so I've been developing that since.
So you went to university out in New York. You chose to go there. What was your sort of reason for going out there?
Because you have more time to figure out what you want to do in terms of like specializing your degree in the United States. So in the UK, I was going to do a joint degree, so I couldn't even choose one subject then. I was going to do English and Spanish, but I wanted to do something that would combine the two. So I'm doing comparative literature right now at university, which is when you compare literature across different cultures and languages. So I'm doing Spanish, French, and English to study the Caribbean.
Right. I mean, that must be fascinating to go and sort of study abroad. It must have been really exciting to actually get a place there.
Yes, it's very exciting. I definitely recommend spending time abroad if you can, because it's interesting to see like how different cultures operate. I would have assumed that at first I thought that the UK and the US wouldn't have that much difference because of like the shared language and things like that.
Yeah.
But I had a little bit of a culture shock when I moved over because I realized like how different people think and how different the countries operate. So yeah, it's been really interesting also to see how they approach education as well in terms of like I have to take loads of different classes and there's a lot more freedom.
When do you finish?
I graduate in April, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's gone fast, hasn't it?
It really has.
So, I mean, you've obviously done quite a lot of writing since you've sort of left school and been at university. I mean, just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got an internship at the Financial Times after my first year of uni. My school had a like a trip to the Financial Times, and I sort of went as like a chaperone because I was 18 at the time, and this trip was really for I think like year 10 students. But the teacher was meant to go and they couldn't, and because I was 18 at the time, and my teacher who was going knew that I was interested in journalism, she asked me if I could come along. So I did, and then I got in touch with Abby Scott, who's a great person at the FT. And I think because of the confidence that Young Reporter gave me, I was able to like keep in touch with her. And so through her, I got this internship at the Financial Times. It was meant to be 3 weeks, but I managed to stretch it out to 3 months over
Oh,
the
wow.
summer. Yeah, because this is a tip. I got into contact with a previous intern who was there, and she told me to get involved in long-term projects because they'll keep you on for longer. Even they'll like extend your contract basically.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I ended up taking on a project about the underrepresentation of Black cannabis businesses in the US cannabis industry because it's becoming legalized and there's lots of money to be made. But African Americans are disproportionately imprisoned for cannabis possession. So there's a big discrepancy there. And I realized that the FT hadn't done a story on it.
Oh, right.
So I did that. That involved a lot of interviews, and I I came up with the idea on like the last week of my internship. So it got extended because of that, and also ended up doing a podcast about it. So I'm more interested in audio journalism now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up doing a podcast on it, and then I got involved with the video team, and they took me on for a project.
That's fascinating and a huge experience,
Yes.
for someone so young.
Yes, yes. And I think the Young Reporter scheme really helped to prime me for that because that was the only journalism experience I had. But all of the skills that I had to do transferred over to doing the DFT internship.
So my constant badgering of emails paid off.
Yes.
So what else have you done?
I got involved with the Black Cultural Archives in Brixton. I did a small internship there in terms of helping out with an exhibition because I've been interested in doing like cultural work, working in archives. I'm a nerd. I like archives and libraries. I think they're like great resources and super interesting. I've seen how important they are in terms of like culture and knowledge production while I've been in university. So started my own podcast called Lose Your Sister, where me and a friend talk about art from the perspective of like the African diaspora because I'm Black British, she's African American. So that's been really fun. I also have a radio show now
Oh, do
that
you?
just started, at my uni radio station.
I mean, that's interesting and a very different type of media.
Yes, yeah. I think, I don't know why I like audio so much. I think because it gives a new dimension to stories because you actually hear the voices of people who are involved.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then I like it better than filming things because I feel like things get really technical and like finicky when it comes to filming an image because like if people aren't centered right and there's like more things that can go wrong about lighting, is the weather okay, this, that, and the other. Can you see the mic? I feel like you have to do a lot more takes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So,
So what are your
definitely.
plans now, obviously coming to the end of your uni experience?
So right now I'm applying for internships, audio journalism internships. So wish me the best of luck
I
because
do.
thank you. So yeah, applying for more internships.
So is that in the States or is that back here in the UK?
It's in the States at the moment,
So you plan to stay there?
at least for a year. There's this thing called OPT, which is like the work permit you can get after you graduate, and it's through your visa. And I thought I might as well take that opportunity because it will be more complicated to figure out ways to stay in the US or try to work here.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
lasts for like a year.
Oh, right. So I
Yeah.
guess, you'll see what happens at the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see what happens.
I really wish you all the very, very best with, what you decide to do. And it's lovely that you've spent some time talking to me today about your experience of young reporter and your hopes for the future. So I do wish you good luck.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me on.
This has been Diana Jarvis talking to Liberty Martin.